Welcome to this episode of dummy testing. We call it dummy testing because it's testing by a dummy for dummies. And today we took a professional cine camera and iPhone to see what Apple log is. So before we start, there are a few disclaimers I want to say. Since iPhone 15 came out, there are two reasons I really want to buy it, and I finally got it. So the first one is Apple log, and the second one is ProRes recording and Type-C. So for anyone who doesn't understand what a log is, so it's basically a way of recording video which means retaining what you can highlight. But here's in dummy language. Have you ever been in the situation where your back is against the sun and either your face is dark or your background is completely white? More dynamic range now means you can both see your pretty face and the sun. And ProRes recording, which is like a codec, and it's quite complicated, but here, it gives you more color. So although I encourage you to kind of dig a little bit online as to what these two are, here's for your lazy people. Log gives you more information on highlights and shadows, and ProRes gives you more information on colors. And here's the important part. Notice how I said more information. That doesn't mean give you a better image. That means you can get the information and bring it out in post-production. So if you don't do post-production, it's kind of pointless. The comparison footage I'm about to show you is from this FujiFilm X2HS camera with a diesel Vespid lens. So this is not an easy camera plus lens to beat. So right now you're seeing a side-by-side comparison of the camera versus Apple log footage. I don't want to be the asshole to say which is which because it's pretty obvious to anyone who knows a little bit about a camera. And today I really want to figure one thing, is can I use Apple log footage as part of my film? In a professional setting, does it work or does it hold up to the minimal standard? Use this footage as an example. We have the sunset, which is a very bright source, and then we have the rest of it pretty much really dark. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the camera and graded up Apple log footage. And here are the ungraded one, and it's pretty obvious that if you look at details, the camera has more dynamic range. On the other hand, it's pretty impressive that the Apple log can hold up all the details in the trees. Because if you take a video from the original camera, you can see it's all just black. Here, let me show you what I mean. So in post-production, if you go to the footage, and if you just drag the blacks up, and then you will see all the information has been retained. So that's pretty much how you actually use log footage. And now I'm going to show you its problem compared to an actual log footage from a camera. I'm not a scientific guy, so how I judge whether a footage is good enough is can you make A into B and vice versa. So now you are looking at an ungraded, just slap a lot on camera footage. And see, I just need to drag the black down and the whites down, and then there you go. It's pretty much the same footage. So camera into iPhone, no problem. Now let's try to do the opposite. So first, I just reset, and now we try to bring up the black levels on the log footage to as best we can, closest we can. You can refer to the scopes on the left to get it to roughly the same level. And the result is actually quite impressive. It's pretty good, especially if you compare this to what a original is from original camera. I'll say this is a pretty good demonstration of how you use log. And here are some examples just using the regular camera and versus using Apple log and graded after. If you swap this with the footage from an actual film camera, unfortunately the sensor size and the optics just makes a really big difference. Here, there's a couple more examples. I'm actually pretty impressed by the Apple log in terms of its flexibility and able to work with. Obviously, please take in note this is in a small screen, you probably watch it, and all the footage probably being compressed. From what I see in the big screen, it is pretty obvious which one is shot by iPhone. But again, we're not doing scientific research here. If I can slap a footage here and you can't tell it's shot by iPhone or a camera, it's already pretty good. Last, I really want to mention that all the Apple log footage I've shot is under ProRes 422HQ, which is pretty big codecs file. As you can see, 14 seconds footage costs you about 1 gigabytes. Just as a comparison, regular video took you about 30 megabytes. And all the footage from iPhone alone from this project took about 80 gigabytes, and I didn't even shoot anything more than 30 seconds. So just to summarize, this is as good as it gets. And just as a reference, in cameras, we chose a little bit lower codecs what we usually use and yielded about 30 gigabytes worth of footage. In real world scenarios, this is what we would use in terms of camera footage, but 70 gigabytes is not feasible in any circumstances, so I will definitely use another codec. This is just a testing to see how good it can get. You will not get this much flexibility if you are now using the same codec. But in a scenario where I don't have a camera and I need something to shoot the stuff that I can use later and mix it with my camera footage, this is actually a feasible option. And if you're just a regular guy trying to shoot some beautiful videos, try some various LUT. It'll give you a better result than just using the default camera.
So if you ask me what's my impression of the Apple log, I'll say it's pretty decent. And I think it's a bit idiotic compared to an actual camera, since I think most difference is in the optics as well as the sensor size. But being able to pull out your phone anytime, anywhere, and come up with this kind of result is very, very impressive to me.
Thanks for watching my review of the Apple log and kind of like a comparison video. Special thanks to my friend Ian for helping me out with his camera and filming all the B-rolls. It took us quite some time to get all the footage, and it's a very fun experience for both of us. So if you like it, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. It will help us a lot. If you know something that we haven't mentioned, if you have experienced it, some difficulties that I didn't mention in the video, please leave a comment. This is a very kind of initial first look at it. I know it's kind of late, but still, so far I'm pretty impressed by it, and I will try to fit it in my workflow here and there and see what's like, maybe there's more potential problem gonna jump up by itself, and I'll leave a long-term review later on. But at the end, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.